What's going on, people? It's Malik Kush here for another episode of our informal discussions with Kush TV. We've got Sydaiya Rehema here, all the way from the US.
Hey, folks.
So you know what it is. We're gonna ask her some questions that you wanna hear, and what I wanna hear the questions to, because I am in charge and I'm the boss.
All right.
So, Sydaiya, talk to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Talk to
So
me.
you grew up in Boston.
I was born and raised in Boston, and I've been in Brooklyn, New York for the last 7 years.
Okay. So what's Boston like? Boston. Is that how they talk there?
Boston. What's Boston like? Well, Boston's really small. Most of the people of color are within like a 5-mile radius, I would say. Outside of that, it's, like small town, very different than the city. Most of Massachusetts is like that, but Boston's the capital, and that's where everything is. It's a big collegiate school. There's 40, 50 million colleges. So there's a lot of culture, a lot of vibrance, a lot of people. Pretty cool.
So who was you looking up to in Boston?
Who was I looking up to?
Who was you thinking, you know what? I want to be like that person.
In Boston?
Yeah.
If I have to keep it to Boston, I would probably have to say like family members, I'd probably have to say my mom and my stepmother and big sisters,
Well, when did you start singing?
I started singing, in church when I was a small child.
It seems that it comes that every black American girl,
exactly,
you all sing in church. So I tell the man, listen, if you want to go to good church, just go to America.
I know.
And you find out a good singing voice as well.
Exactly. That's where we all started. That's where it starts. And then I was kind of in and out throughout high school. I was in the choir, and I had a little singing group for a second with a couple girls, and that was fun. And then I kind of stepped away from the microphone for a while, and I got back to the microphone maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But between then and now, well, now I'm singing again, but before that, I was doing behind the scenes work. So I was doing songwriting with people. I was doing artist management, creative direction, and all those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I had a little look on your bio, and you went to the Berkeley College of Music.
Berkeley College of Music.
Berkeley.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Berkeley College of Music.
Yes.
What was it like coming from there? Do you feel any pressure?
Of course. Berkeley's a huge, huge name. There's a lot of pressure. There's also some stigma attached, Sometimes they think that because you're quote unquote so traditionally trained that you're not able to kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of break that mold per se. So that can be a bit of a stigma. They don't know how much soul you can have or things like that because they think you're too technically trained, Otherwise, it's great for the network. It's a really prestigious school. It's a great name. It certainly rings bells. So I'm proud to have graduated from Berkeley.
Okay. You said on your bio as well that you do songwriting.
I do.
What to you is better? Do you like writing the songs, or do you like performing it on stage, bringing the house down?
I love writing the songs. That's my favorite part, is the creative process. That was my first love of it all, and that's where I started, and that's where I stayed for a while. And now it was kind of a business decision was my journey, okay, well, if I write the song and I record the song and I perform the song, then I can cut out a bunch of middlemen.
You get free checks, that's what you need.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it started, but now I really do love performing also, so I'm just, I love everything about it.
Okay. So how are you enjoying it over here in the UK? How are you enjoying it?
I love it. I mean, I've been here for 3 or 4 days. They have us on a very tight schedule, so I'm only able to see a little bit here and there, but I'm staying in Brixton, South London. Shout out to Brixton. So, I've been able to have a little bit of culture and experience going out to eat and things like that. So far, I like it a lot.
Well, sometimes when I've spoken to American people, like my girlfriend, her grandma is American, they've come over there. They're always surprised how much black people there actually is over there. Was you surprised?
No. I already knew.
You knew, yeah?
We know.
Okay,
You know?
listen, I've heard people come over here and they're like, bro, I was in Tottenham the other day and there was loads of you.
Yeah.
Listen,
No.
there's
We
loads of
out
us.
here in the world, you know? I was looking forward to seeing and meeting you guys, so, you know.
So you say you're a soul singer, would you say?
Yes, urban soul.
Urban.
Yeah.
Define that for those that don't know.
I will happily define that.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah?
Urban soul.
Okay. I will happily define it. I will first say that I kind of like created it myself. So, you know, if you haven't heard of it before, don't feel bad. But basically, you know, because my voice is very soulful, so naturally there's soul. But a lot of people would just immediately throw me in the neo soul category. I first of all don't like to be labeled. I don't like to be put into box with parameters. I got to be able to express myself, you know, the way I feel it. But also, I felt like it wasn't quite accurate. Like, I feel like I'm a 90s kid, you know. I love hip-hop. There's generally, like, a hip-hop backbeat to it, to my music. So it's a fusion of, you know, soul, hip-hop, reggae elements, jazz, blues, music of substance, all mixed up into one, coming through me. So we call it urban soul.
So who's been like, who influenced you to do the kind of, like, who would your influences be, your main ones?
Well, my favorite artist of all time is Michael Jackson, which people are generally surprised about. Okay. Yeah. It's always a curveball for people.
No, I hear that though. No.
You get it? It's Michael, right? Exactly. But people usually are like, oh, you know, Jill Scott, Erykah Badu, which I also love, you know. Yeah, I get that a lot. India Arie. Lauren is one of my favorites. You know, she's classic. A lot of people, Anita Baker, Luther Vandross, you know, soul, anything with soul, substance.
So what made you want to do soul? Because it just feels like a lot of people nowadays, obviously, especially female singers, they stick to the pop or R&B. Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to be true to myself and true to my artistry, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So I can't go switching it up trying to make other people comfortable. I got to bring you to me, you know? Yeah.
But obviously, you see like the Kanye West track, and he used like a Nina Simone sample and things like that. Do you think that will like be more of a thing that people use in the future, taking that soulful music and bringing it up to date, like what you're doing?
I hope so.
Get bigger.
I hope so. You know, I mean, it hasn't ever left per se, but in terms of like it being pop or popular, you know, but things come in waves. So just like EDM wasn't super popular across the world, and then it was, you know, there was a moment where soul music was super popular, and there's a moment where rock music's super popular. So, you know, it'll just come back. I'll be here when it does. Or I'll be leading the pack to bring it back.
Let's moving on a bit, yeah. You see female artists, yeah? Do you ever feel like you have to be overly sexy to kind of make it in this day and age?
I mean, I think that you're expected to be attractive, you know, in terms of sexiness.
Nobody doesn't want to see it. Nobody doesn't want to see somebody ugly singing.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, but that's kind of the life of a woman, you know? You're expected to be attractive all the time. In terms of sexiness, it really depends on what someone perceives as sexy and what you feel like you can portray as sexy, you know? Some people are over the top looking silly. You don't want that. Some people are just naked for no reason, looking like that was the whole point. It looks gimmicky. You don't want that. So you just have to be like comfortable in your skin and do what you do. Like, I feel sexy all the time, just like this.
So you feel sexy all the time? That's what you're saying for you? It's not
generally speaking, yeah. It's a state of mind, I think, also, you know.
But do you think, obviously, I know you're more into soul, yeah? But you see R&B, I was having a discussion with someone the other day, and they was like, R&B has completely changed. Like, basically, my man was saying, the way these R&B guys are talking now, they're talking just as wicked as the rappers.
Yeah.
So the love part of it has gone. Do you agree? Or do you think it's that? Listen, people are just more sexual now, and that's it.
Yeah,
Or
I
do you
think
that's
people.
part of it?
Yeah, I think people are a little bit more gritty on the forefront, but I think it's also about what is popular. Like trap soul, you know, is kind of like the R&B trying to still hold their grounds in this new environment. And I like it. I like the merge of that. You know what I mean? It feels real. It feels truthful. There are definitely still soul singers and crooners and love songs out there. Even rappers make love songs.
Yeah, true.
You know, everybody got
Some
feelings.
of the best rap songs are actually about women.
Yeah, you know, Meth and Mary. That's classic for forever. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you now work in Brooklyn.
Yes.
So, like, what was that like coming from Boston to Brooklyn? What was that like?
It was cool. I mean, aside from, I was already going back and forth. Like, you know, Boston's so close, and New York is the big city, so you know we go there as much as we can. It's bigger. It has more access. It has more things. It has more people. It's more diverse. You know, it was just like on a larger scale. But I'm not coming from a small town, so it wasn't like culture shock. You know what I'm saying? There were still buses and trains and public transportation where I live, and
You're not coming from the farm.
corner stores and normal things. Now, when I do go to like the farm, I'm like, that's when I'm freaked out about. You know, like you have to drive into town 20 minutes to the store that closes at 5 p.m. Like it's just strange.
Do you feel like you had to move to Brooklyn to like, well, obviously you would have moved to create better chances for yourself, but do you feel like that was the place to be? Does that make sense?
Well, Brooklyn's definitely the place to be.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Because it always seems like, from
Yeah.
an English point of view, like, if you make music and you're from New York,
Uh-huh.
or just North
Northeast.
America in general,
Yeah.
you gotta be in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Well,
So much history there.
definitely, definitely. There's a few hubs, you know, for kind of black music in general. You know, Atlanta is a big one. New York has always had its own. Harlem, Brooklyn are kind of the big, you know, for people of color, hubs just culturally in general. So there's music and then there's other industries. So being there is never, it's never bad for you in terms of like networking and access and building with people. It's been great for me, so.
So who would you say is your favorite singer? It can be in the past, it can be up and coming singer.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite singer, like I said, was Michael Jackson, you know? It was my favorite. I stick by that. I stand by that one till death do us and beyond.
So yeah, not what? Who's after Michael for you?
Oh, there's just a bunch of people that I admire and respect, sound-wise and for other reasons. You know, Lauryn Hill is definitely one of them, one of my top tier, you know?
You know what gets me with Lauryn Hill? I love her, yeah, but she only made one album.
I
Kinda gets on my
know,
nerves.
I know, but that one album was so classic. And then you have to think about her work with the Fugees, that counts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was some
So
stuff.
frustrating. I just
It
want 2,
is.
3.
I know.
But then,
She also had that unplugged one, if you want to count it.
we'll kind of in there too. It just feels like
It wasn't
the status
enough.
that she has with artists. I mean,
I know.
all artists respect her.
I
see you
know.
think of Nicki Minaj and Power.
I know.
Like the respect is obviously there, but the body of work is.
I know, but imagine how big of an impact she made with just that one album for her to still have it. You know what I mean? So it was like defining times, you know? Like I was a little girl. I remember I went to Jamaica with my family, and they were playing, you know, one of the songs, but I don't know if it had gotten there first or it got there later or something, but it was one of the first times that I heard it and I came back and it was just such a big deal. But I remember a time in my life because of Lauryn Hill. You know what I mean? That's an impact.
It relates to something.
Yeah.
Alright, listen, I'm gonna move the questions away from music right now.
Okay.
I gotta ask you, I don't know, it seems that in America there's something going on in the air, or people are smoking something. Tell me about this Donald Trump.
You want me to tell you?
Listen, talk to me now, sister. Talk to me.
I mean, you know, I'm not on the side of Trump, so, you know, speaking on it, I can't, it's politics, it's American politics, it's American culture, you know what I mean? Can I say that we're surprised? No. Are we disgusted? Yes. Are we surprised? Probably not. You know? I think the Republicans and all of the people on that side have been waiting, you know? And in the time of Obama's 8 years, you know, these last 4 years, they was like, all right, we're going to get together and we're going to figure out an overhaul on this. You know what I mean? And that's what happened. The number one voter for Donald Trump was white American women. So that's interesting, you know, even with all of his misogyny and all of those things.
Do you feel that may be to do with the fact that obviously the black male is always deemed a threat or seemed to be a threat?
Yeah, I think so, you know. I think that they wanted to, you know, quote unquote, take back their power, you know what I mean? Bring it back to the forefront. But, you know, I'm still there. I'm still fine.
Yeah,
I will still be fine.
But yeah, it's just like, obviously,
you know?
they were saying things like, make America great again.
Yeah.
But the people that I was talking about in America was saying, make America great again for who?
Exactly.
Because it wasn't all
It was,
great for
it's never been that great for us. Yeah,
Anyway.
it's never been that great for us. So that's what I'm saying. If you know, a Donald Trump, you know, administration is not gonna shut down my moves. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna do what I gotta do, and hey, maybe I'll find some opportunities to capitalize on too. You know, you can't be shaken up. You can't be scared. This is what it is. So.
Do you feel like, as a black woman doing this singing and all these things, do you feel like you should give back to the community a little bit? Or
Of course, yeah.
Are you an advocate of that?
I'm a super advocate. I'm a super advocate of women in general, women empowerment, women causes supporting women. Outside of music, I'm also a birth doula, which is someone who supports women through labor and delivery. I also have like my brand, Artist Sydaiya Inc. incorporates like mentorship for young girls, and I'm working on like a children's book series for young girls. So I'm a super supporter, you know. A lot of my music kind of has like messages for empowerment. I'm releasing a new single. I won't speak the name yet, but it's a super women's anthem, you know, so I'm all about it. And I feel like, you know, we have music and this platform as a gift, and if we can offer something to give back and you know, some type of healing or anything like that, we should.
Why do you think sometimes, not to be critical of the sisters, but black women sometimes don't always get along?
Don't always get along with each other?
As well as they should. Let's not
You
say
know?
don't get along, but let's just say not along as well as they should.
Yeah. You know, I don't know. That's hard for me to speak on because I don't know that I approach things that way. I approach person to person, you know, regardless of any of those other things. So I don't ever intend to disrespect anybody. I always come with respect, humility. I always come, you know, with a humble presence. So that's how I approach it. However, you know, if I'm getting some kind of resistance back or I'm feeling a disrespect back, then obviously I'm going to be a little bit more defensive. I'm not a type of woman that has any issues speaking up for herself, you know. But yeah, I mean, I think as black women, we get a bit of a bad rap about being a little tough and being a little hard. But, you know, our lives wasn't...
In fairness, I say you have to be tough because you're not really given a choice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, this is life. This is survival. So I think if there's tough on tough walking around and people have complexes and things going on, then it's bound to clash a little bit. But, you know, we all just have to try to be kind. We have to try to, you know, be mature. And I think it should be all right. I don't really have problems.
Okay. But do you support Black Lives Matter? Or
Definitely.
yeah?
Yeah, it's this generation's movement of civil rights, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, obviously we had artists like Lil Wayne trying to like, not spit bad on it, but you know what I mean? Like putting it not down. Do you feel like that might even in a way help? Because if these people are talking about it, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, any publicity is good publicity, I say, right? So, the conversation staying at the forefront is always a good thing. In terms of Lil Wayne's views, that's his position and that's his position. I have to respect his views. Hey guys, it's your girl Sydaiya Rehema from Brooklyn, New York. I just want to give a shout out to Kush Clothing. That's kushclothingldn.co.uk. I currently have my first single out, or my second single, first single for 2017, called Make You Feel My Love. It's my urban soul rendition of the classic Bob Dylan song. Adele also did in 2008, so you might recognize it. Check that out. It's everywhere on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, Tidal, all of those, so check it out. Video on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram at Creative Sydaiya. That's CreativeSydaiya. You can find me on Facebook at Sydaiya Rehema Music, SYDAIYA REHEMA Music. My website is www.creativesidaiya.com, and then you can find everything from there.